All right, everyone, I believe we are ready to begin. And on behalf of the Energy Alliance Group of North America, I'd like to welcome you to today's webcast entitled Increasing the Profitability and Value of Commercial Real Estate. Now, before I introduce you to your speaker, I would like to go over two important details. First of all, we encourage questions. So if you have any questions during the webcast, you look down in the lower right-hand corner. There's a place where you can type in your question and just hit send email, and the question will either be answered during the presentation, and if there's not time, there will be an email answer subsequent to the presentation. And also, at the end of the webcast, our speaker will provide contact information for the organization, and you will also receive contact information for follow-up questions in a subsequent email after the webcast. So on that note, I would like to introduce you to your speaker today. That's Curt Monhart. He's the Vice President of the Energy Alliance Group of North America. And prior to joining the Energy Alliance Group of North America, Curt served as the Executive Vice President of Sales and Marketing for the HVAC manufacturer Hart & Cooley. He also held a Senior Vice President of Sales and Marketing for Danfoss, a global manufacturer of variable frequency drives, compressors, and HVAC controls. He also worked for the Trane Company, where he held marketing and sales management roles in Asia and North America. Much of his work involved energy-efficient products and systems. Since joining the Energy Alliance Group in 2012, Curt has worked on numerous energy efficiency projects funded by property-assessed clean energy financing, as well as traditional sources. He has also been a presenter at energy efficiency workshops focused on training building owners, property managers, architects, engineers, contractors, and representatives from various government agencies on making energy efficiency affordable. Curt holds an MBA in marketing from Michigan State University and a Bachelor's of Science in Marketing from Southern Illinois University. So on that note, here's your speaker for today, Curt Monhart. Curt, we are ready for you to begin.
Thanks, Gary, and thanks to everyone online for joining us today. The thrust of this webcast is if you own, manage, develop, or lease commercial real estate that's energy inefficient, you're leaving money on the table. There's absolutely no doubt that energy efficient buildings drive commercial real estate profitability and value. This includes net operating income, property value, occupancy rates, lease rates, and property marketability. And we're going to show you how you can accomplish this without investing your own capital. Energy is the single largest non-wage related operating expense, and for most buildings, 30% is wasted. The average age of the U.S. building is 50 years, and for many, they're using 30-year-old energy-related technology. This translates into about $60 billion nationally in lost profits, and it's a major contributor to harmful air emissions. This webcast is going to show you how energy-efficient commercial real estate drives higher rental rates, net operating income, and market value. Now, there's some key givens for this to be true. First of all, you didn't overpay. The building was purchased at the right price and with the right financing, and the appearance is good, and it's in the right neighborhood. And the current price per unit or square foot is in the ballpark with comparable area buildings. There have been numerous studies that talk about the impact of energy efficiency on profitability and value of commercial real estate. One is from the Deloitte Center for Financial Services in their 2015 Commercial Real Estate Outlook. They talk about a number of impacts that energy efficiency has, and that includes everything from the environment, top and bottom line performance, values, and brand perception. And they found conclusively that buildings with better sustainability credentials enjoy increased marketability to both tenants as well as investors. The Green Building Asset Valuation Report concluded that there is overwhelming evidence for Energy Star properties in the area of having rental premiums, higher market value, and sale price premiums. And a survey completed by Deloitte Consulting also talked about the resultant benefits of commercial properties that underwent energy efficiency or water conservation upgrades. These included, first, the ability to attract talent. This is becoming especially important with the younger generation. They are very intent on working for companies that are green and have sustainability measures in place. It also affects the company's goodwill and brand equity, the workforce productivity, employee retention, and employee health. Johnson Controls study found that Energy Star and LEED, which is Leadership in Energy and Environment Design buildings, had rental premiums of 2 to 17%, improved resale value of 6 to 35%, and higher occupancy rates of 2 to 18%. Considering all the variables, it's not surprising there's such a wide range, but even at the lower values, these have a significant impact on profitability and value of commercial real estate. And a big plus for building owners, they're viewed as good environmental stewards, contributing to the company's image and brand equity. Now, this is tough to measure, but there's no doubt it really exists. And as we just saw, it's an important factor in attracting talent of today's younger generation. And even tenants can benefit from energy efficient buildings. Most have triple net leases, which means they're responsible for all expenses, including energy. If they save money on energy, that has a direct impact on their bottom line. For example, if a tenant operates on a 12% net profit margin, every energy dollar saved is equivalent to $12 in additional sales. If they operate on a 5% net margin, every energy dollar saved is equivalent to $5 in additional sales. And when you consider that the typical building wastes 30% of the energy consumed, this significantly impacts bottom line performance. Anything a landlord can do to improve the energy efficiency benefits both him as well as the tenant. Unfortunately, relatively few commercial buildings have undergone an energy efficiency upgrade. This could include their HVAC system, lighting, building envelope improvements. 90% of companies surveyed had energy management goals, and over 60% identified reducing energy costs as a primary motive. However, very few made energy efficiency improvements. This really seems to be like a no-brainer. Why haven't they? Improving energy efficiency is capital intensive, and many projects simply don't meet a company's financial hurdle rates. One of the bigger ones is payback. Many companies like to look at a payback of 2 to 3 years in order to justify an investment. Now, if you're going to LED lighting, you probably could be in the ballpark here, but really most any other energy efficiency upgrades are going to be longer than the 3-year period and never get approved. Many energy efficiency projects also don't meet the rate of return requirements or the internal rate of return. This results in capital allocated to other uses, foregoing the profitability and property value resulting from being energy efficient. However, there are now a few options for financing these upgrades that overcome the financing obstacles. One of the most innovative is Property Assessed Clean Energy, or PACE, financing program. PACE offers long-term loans anywhere from 10 to 30 years, 100% pre-funding, there is no capital down, and fixed interest rates. Usually they're based on the 10-year Treasury rate plus a certain number of basis points above that. And PACE can be used for both retrofits as well as new construction. PACE can be used for financing energy efficiency, water conservation, and renewable energy projects. It began in California in 2008, primarily to finance residential solar energy projects. It's now available in 33 states plus Washington, D.C. PACE loans are repaid by voluntary special property tax assessment, similar to those levied for streets, sidewalks, sewers, and other improvements. They're paid along with the property taxes, so for most people, most companies, this is every 6 months. PACE is a public-private partnership of local governments, property owners, lenders, and contractors. The special assessment provides the funds to repay the financing. The property owner simply signs an agreement with the lender, who's most often private, and the local government. Here are the key roles in the PACE-funded project. First, you have the PACE administrator. The administrator assists in establishing PACE districts, conducts technical analysis of PACE projects' projected energy savings, and approves projects for financing. He also helps connect funders with eligible projects. The PACE project developer, of which the Energy Alliance Group is one, really assumes cradle-to-the-grave operational responsibility. This includes energy audits, generating all the financial analyses, hiring the subcontractors, and providing overall project management. The county or municipality government's involved because they're the taxing authority. And remember, PACE is a tax. They're responsible for establishing a PACE district, levying the special property assessment, collecting the assessment with the property tax payment, and conveying it to the program administrator or PACE funder, and enforcing the remedies if the taxes go unpaid. The lender, most commonly private, but a PACE project could be state or municipality financed. Here are some really key benefits of a PACE loan. First of all, it is a tax, and at the building owner's discretion, it can be considered off balance sheet. Therefore, it's an expense rather than a long-term liability. This helps preserve the owner's borrowing capacity for other requirements. PACE is non-recourse. The property secures a loan. If anything happened to the business, the property owner is not responsible for paying off the remainder of the loan. And PACE runs with the land, so upon sale, the loan is not paid off. The new owner assumes responsibility for the special assessment. This is usually not a problem because the property that he's buying is energy efficient, and in most cases, he's saving much more than the assessment costs him. Now, there are a number of key benefits versus traditional financing options. First of all, with regard to the down payment, there is no down payment with PACE. It is 100% financed. With a bank or private loan, up to 20% of the asset value must be covered by the building owner. With regard to the finance rate, PACE is the market rate and it's fixed for the entire term of the loan. With a bank or private loan, it can be a competitive rate. And many times we hear from a building owner that he can get a much more competitive rate from his banker than what he can from PACE. The key question to ask your banker is, will you guarantee this rate for 10 to 20 years? And I think you'll find out the answer is a resounding no. The term of the loan, 10 to 30 years for PACE, 1 to 7 years for a bank loan, and generally we see mostly 3 and 5 year loan terms. The debt capacity, as we saw before, it has no impact. With a PACE loan, it remains the same for that property owner, and it's reduced if you have a bank or private loan. Upon sale, the lien is tied to the property. There is no payment due. And with the bank or private loan, generally there's a balloon payment. And as far as recourse to the owner, we just saw there is no recourse under a PACE-funded loan. And most often there is with a bank or private loan. In many states, to qualify for a PACE loan, the resultant energy savings have to be greater than the entire cost of the project. This includes all hard and soft costs, including energy audits, labor, equipment, finance costs, materials costs, legal costs, absolutely every cost associated with the project. And this results in a positive cash flow project from day one. This means that for a building owner, it's actually more profitable for him to go ahead with an energy efficiency upgrade than maintain the status quo. In some states, the PACE project developer guarantees the resultant savings and positive cash flow. Generally, the maximum PACE loan is roughly 30% of the property's fair market value, but this can vary by lender and the PACE administrator, so this is not a hard and fast number, just a good rule of thumb. Also, minimum PACE loans are roughly $100,000, but this also varies by the lender administrator, and there is no maximum or cap to a PACE loan. By establishing PACE districts, local governments increase property owners' profitability. Since their operating expenses are reduced, they drive economic development, and this requires zero taxpayer funding, and they protect the environment and increase property values. With regard to the zero taxpayer funding and driving economic value, energy efficiency projects typically put a number of people to work. These include architects, engineers, and a number of different contractors, all the way from HVAC to lighting to building envelope, various technologies such as air compressors, solar, wind, and geothermal. If you're an owner of commercial real estate, upgrading energy efficiency of property has major impact on those financial performance metrics that are key to your business. First, net operating income. We saw that reducing wasted energy drives net operating income, which directly increases property value. Again, keep in mind that roughly 30% of all the energy consumed is wasted. Improved cash flow. Many green upgrades are cash flow positive from day one, and reduced capital expenditures. PACE requires zero capital down, providing 100% financing, as we saw, for every conceivable cost associated with that project. Debt coverage. PACE increases your net operating income and also your debt coverage, since again it can be considered off balance sheet at the owner's discretion. Newfound capital. PACE will refinance recent green upgrades. We worked on an apartment project building that 6 months earlier had undergone an energy efficiency upgrade. When we talked to the owner, his response was, "I wish I had talked to you guys 6 months earlier. I just upgraded everything." Well, if you have a recent energy efficiency upgrade and your savings are going to be greater than the cost of that upgrade, PACE will refinance that project, providing a source of newfound capital that you can use for other uses. PACE also offers a self-financing opportunity. In some states, the property owner can self-finance his own PACE project, and in the process earn an attractive return, currently ranging from 5 to 7%. As far as the building qualifications, this includes most commercial, industrial, multifamily, and nonprofit. In some states, residential is also included, and one state even covers government buildings. Second, it has to be in a PACE district. Third, the business is healthy. The building owner is not tax delinquent. Considering that PACE is a tax, paying your taxes is critical. And the property is not overly leveraged, generally 80% or less, but again, this is really up to the lender and PACE administrator. As far as the applications that qualify for PACE, generally, if the energy savings can be accurately measured, the project will qualify for PACE. Here's another rule of thumb, and again, it's not a hard and fast number. There are a number of variables, but if you're spending roughly between $5,000 and $6,000 a month on your utility bills, generally it will qualify for PACE if you meet the other qualifications. Examples of qualifying technologies include, but again, are not limited to, HVAC systems, lighting and control systems, and for the commercial real estate owner, generally your HVAC and your lighting controls is going to represent roughly 70% of utility costs, so they're a major factor. Also includes combined heat and power systems, water conservation, and with water conservation, even simple things like automatic faucets and low flush toilets can have a measurable impact. Also includes water heating systems, electric motors, along with variable frequency drives, compressed air, renewables, solar and wind, as well as a host of building envelope improvements. Again, this is not an exhaustive list, but generally these are the type that are qualified. But once again, if you can measure that energy efficiency, more often than not, it will qualify for a PACE loan. Now, what if you're not in a PACE district? Commercial property owners can play a key role in getting one established. If you bring forward a plan for an energy efficiency, water conservation, or renewable energy project to your county or city executive, and note that you want to fund it with a PACE loan, this is absolutely the best way to start the process. You can't underestimate the level of influence you will have on your county or your city executive. Knowing there is a constituent demand for a program like PACE is key. Now, there are a number of rebates and incentives available regardless of the financing option. First, there's a host of utility rebates that cover a number of energy efficiency upgrades. There's also, in many states, utility choice. With utility choice, this gives you the ability to select who provides your utility with electricity and natural gas. Now, that's who they're going to source from. They're still going to send you the bill. They're still going to come out if there's any service requirement. It's just defining that you want them to purchase from an alternative supplier your electricity or natural gas. And these alternative suppliers are generally much more competitive simply because they do not have the overhead of your utility. Cost segregation. Cost segregation is part of the IRS code, and it allows you to reclassify business assets to take advantage of accelerated depreciation. Asset abandonment. You can actually receive tax credits for discarded assets. These include light fixtures, HVAC systems, and plumbing fixtures. EPACT is a federal program allowing building owners to deduct $1.80 per square foot if meeting certain energy efficiency levels. There are a host of contractor programs that may be available to you as well that offers a number of various incentives. One recent real-world example of an energy efficiency upgrade was the new Armador Apartments. The building was constructed in 1929, and the windows were in definite need of renovation. They leaked, they did not open easily, and they were very energy efficient. However, just buying the property, the owner simply didn't have the capital to really invest in all new windows. However, he did qualify for a PACE loan, and it was for a total of $300,000. This allowed him to replace all the windows with energy efficient designs, but most importantly, it allowed him to keep the same historical look of the original windows. He also made a number of other improvements with his $300,000 PACE loan. At the end of the webcast, you'll be directed to a web page that'll provide the details of this project. Okay, at this time I'd like to answer some questions. Carrie, have any been submitted so far?
Yes, I have a few, Curt. First one, you mentioned that PACE can be used on new construction. How do you determine what the baseline is if you're using it for new construction when there's no history of past payments?
Great question, Carrie. The baseline for new construction applications is what's going to be required to build to code. For many municipalities, code is the ASHRAE 2007, but it could be something else. You look at that baseline, and then you look at the savings that are going to accrue for more energy efficient technologies, and that's going to define if it'll qualify for PACE. Those savings will have to be greater than the costs of upgrading to more energy efficient technologies. This is really a key area for developers. What this is going to allow you to do is upgrade your building with more energy efficient technologies and not have to spend any additional capital. We have heard time and time again from architects that I could have designed a much more energy efficient building, but because of the influence on first cost, I had to dumb down the design. I simply could not design a building that I would like to, that was sustainable, that was green, simply because it didn't meet the budget requirements.
Okay, another question. Where does the money come from? You mentioned that it's not taxpayer money. Who provides the funding?
Most PACE loans today are funded by private lenders, although it could be another source. State agencies could be funding it. Some municipalities still fund PACE projects with a bond issue. Today, most are coming from private lenders. Private lenders love PACE loans. A comment was made to me is, what could be better than a government-backed loan? And it's government-backed because PACE is a tax, and what gets paid before anything else? Taxes.
Okay, the next question is, why is PACE not available in more states?
PACE has really been around since 2008. And then really for the first few years, it was centered in California where it first originated. And it's taken time. It's an education mission as PACE moves through the various states. There is legislative process involved in passing PACE. And we have seen really the momentum picking up dramatically over the last year or two in the number of states that have approved PACE. Still, many people have not heard about the program, let alone become familiar with the details. But what we do know is that PACE is being approved at an increasing rate, and we expect the majority of states will be approving PACE before too long.
All right, another question that was submitted. I own some commercial property and was wondering where's the best place to look when it comes to energy efficiency? What kind of technologies?
If you're a commercial real estate owner, the two most important areas are generally going to be your HVAC systems and your lighting. Together, for most properties, they account for about 70% of your energy bill. You definitely want to address these first. But also with PACE, since in most situations your savings have to be greater than the entire project cost, it's really a change in mindset. You want to look out and consider all those energy technologies that you could include in a PACE project. This is a little different from what most people are used to. Usually, when you have to spend your own capital, you're looking at what is absolutely the lowest hanging fruit. What do I really have to do? And some of these other upgrades, I'm going to put them on the back burner for another time. Again, with PACE, you want to look at absolutely everything you possibly can do with the assumption that it still pencils out at the end of the financial analysis. Now, I know there are more questions. Unfortunately, this is all the time we have right now, but I will answer all of them in a follow-up email. In closing, PACE is an exciting program you should take advantage of. It definitely impacts profitability and value of commercial real estate. This includes net operating income, lease and occupancy rates, property marketability, and overall value. Now, a discussion of PACE generally raises more questions. You may wonder if you have an energy efficiency project on the board that does qualify for PACE. You may not be in a PACE district and you would like help in getting one established. You'd like more information on the roles that the different PACE people actually play. I encourage you to contact me directly with any question about PACE you may have. I will respond to all of them and make sure that you are comfortable and have a good understanding of PACE and how it works. And thanks again to everybody who joined us on this webcast. We appreciated your attendance.